Hello YouTube, rock on, welcome back to my channel. Um, I wanted to do this for a while because last month I went to Steel City Con again, and I finally got to meet John Carpenter. And I remember talking about meeting John Carpenter, what I would get signed in the video. I think sometime last year I did, but I'm going to get into all that and what else I had signed too. I spent so much fucking money at this convention, the most of any so far, because I had not I didn't know what to bring, for Carpenter, but I just brought a handful of shit. And after a while, it got so expensive because one autograph's $120 plus tax. So I'm like, Jesus Christ. But aside from that, I'll get into it. And one thing to note about Carpenter is he pretty quiet, as you can imagine. He's not an actor, so um, you have to do all the talking. And when there's a lot of people there that wanted to see him, it was kind of hard. But I got to meet him 2 times, and I'll get to that point in a second. And the second time, I got to speak to him a few more minutes, so it wasn't as rushed. Excuse me. And I got to get my coffee here. I actually talking about Carpenter, and I have a fucking Jason Voorhees mug. And I tried to do this earlier, but fucking sunlight. This is the fluorescent light, but the sunlight was creeping in, and every time I tried to show something, it was so the sunlight just pretty much took over half the damn item on the screen. So I'm like, well, I'll just wait till nighttime. So let's get into it. First item up, one of the least favorite Carpenter films, maybe the least favorite of most people, or a good chunk of them, or the second least favorite, and that is this Ghost of Mars. Now, this is the soundtrack. It's not a Laserdisc because it came out in 2001, and the Laserdiscs. There was a few releases in Laserdiscs in 2001, but I think they were all Asian, and I believe, and this wasn't one of them. And I got this on Black Friday last year, Record Store Day, and it has like Anthrax. It's a heavy metal soundtrack. Steve Vai, Anthrax, Buckethead, Robin Fink, Scott Ian. Yeah, that's all Anthrax, the rest of them, but. They say it's not that great, but I haven't listened to it. Maybe I'll get around to it eventually. I'm not big on soundtracks, but it was a special release, and I figured nobody was going to have anything really music related for Carpenter besides Halloween score, maybe. Especially not this. Next up, my one of my favorite movies of all time, and that's The Thing. And you can see he signed it right here. It's not very. I mean, you have to look close, but yeah, he did sign it. I wish it was brighter, but he signed it white. Should have did like orange or something. And but yeah, you can see it's still clear. And this is the widescreen version. And I forgot to tell you, I didn't even know this, but the Steel City Con had a certificate of authenticity. Yeah, I can't even speak. Certificate of authenticity people doing it. So just in case I ever wanted to sell it, I have proof right here that he signed it. And they can look it up that he went to the Steel City Con. So it has the date on it and everything. So if they don't believe me, but I'm never going to sell it. But I asked Carpenter about the They Live, or I keep saying They Live. God damn it, because it's right here. The Thing, and I was reading. I told him they had to film it in a cold weather location, and they moved it back to the studio. But he wanted to film it in an actual cold weather location, so they moved it again up to British Columbia. And yeah, he said it was the studio really wanted to build a set, but he's like, no, I want it more authentic. So, which makes more sense. Fucking building a cold set, you can do it, but yeah. And aside from the Thing's special effects, with the dog and the guy played in Vision Quest and had that spider head with the eyeballs. That fucking special effects was 40 years ago, and it's still better than almost anything today without CGI. So there's the CGI. And speaking of CGI, a lot of people hate this movie because of the CGI. It's one of the worst CGI films ever. I mean, the effects of the CGI use in it, and that's Escape from LA. I like this movie besides the CGI effects. I feel it's pretty much the same damn movie as the first movie. Take out New York, put LA, President's Daughter, blah, blah, blah. It's the same shit. So the reason why I got him to sign this is because, A, nobody really likes this movie that much. Everybody would have Escape from New York stuff. And B, it's the only Japanese laserdisc I have with him, his movies. So I thought it would be cool to get him to sign that. And Kurt Russell did an excellent job in it too, despite the crappy CGI effects. Next up, I think that's... Oh, here we go. This is what I had signed by Nick Castle. You can see right here. Last time at the convention last year. Well, actually, it was in April. And then there's John Carpenter. I don't actually have this on Laserdisc, surprisingly, because I always wanted to get some rare shit first. And I have a few Halloweens, just not the original. And Sandy Johnson was also there. Judith Myers, you can see right there, which is a pretty big surprise because she's never done conventions before. So I asked her about what's it feel like to be like the first victim of Michael Myers, and she said she was like honored to do it. She said it was like she's leaving her own lasting legacy, and it was just a great thing to do, and she's proud of it. So that's cool. And now here we go. Speaking of They Live, right here, here's that special edition box set. I just had him sign the outside, which would be easier because I couldn't get the fucking thing open. Anyway, I think I showed it before. I still can't get the fucking thing open because it... And there's the certificates. And yeah, I could have gotten to sign this, which would have been cool also. But I couldn't get the fucking thing open, and I'm like, well, I'll probably never open it that much, so I just got him to sign the outside. And I had, getting back to it, they forgot to tear off my VIP autographed tag thing, and so I came back. They're like, the people were like, oh, they were supposed to tear that off. So I came back and got a free autograph. Put that over there in a bit. And so I wanted to get the Christine diecast car because all they have there, they didn't have any fucking movies. They never do. It's all like comic books, you know, artwork, or like figures. So I was looking for the diecast Christine car. That would have been fucking awesome to get autographed. Nobody had it. So I just went with the John Nada figure. And I asked him about the bubblegum line. And he said, because I thought it might have been ad-libbed. He said, no, he had it in a book of like phrases. Piper had a book of phrases, and John Carpenter read it. He's like, well, we should use that in a scene because I like it. So that's where that I came to chew bubblegum line came from. Piper's own mind, I guess you could say. And it was totally not in the script originally, so that's pretty cool. And Piper was my favorite wrestler, so I just figured this would be cool to get autographed. And They Live is one of my favorite movies, so there you go. So that's all the John Carpenter stuff. I was going to bring like shit like Prince of Darkness, The Fog, and the other shit I have, but like I said, it adds up. Next up, James Remar was there, and I met him. Everybody was having stuff from The Warriors or Dexter, which I've never fucking watched in my life. I've never watched Dexter, and I don't plan on watching Dexter. But, of course, I brought the cheesiest, worst ever movie that's fun to laugh at, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And this, you can see it right there. Stay strong, Lord Raiden. And he said he had fun working on it, even though, he said it was so fun to work on despite, the critical flop that it was. And I asked him about Jean-Claude Van Damme because I like The Quest. It's one of my favorite Van Damme films. And he said he's very professional, very nice to work with. And, he was very serious with everything, with all the choreographed fights because, that was his first directorial debut. And here's the Hong Kong version. I don't think he'll ever sign one of these again. And he also wrote Lord Raiden, and to me, Stay Strong. So, yeah, there you go. I didn't want to get a picture with this guy because it was $100 for a fucking combat. It wasn't worth it, and I'm not a big Seinfeld guy. And you can't really see it, so I'll take it out of the package. I mean, you can when you look at it, but I got this signed at a convention earlier this year, Space Jam. I met Bugs Bunny, Billy West here, but at the convention last time was Wayne Knight, and there was his signature. And I asked him about working on, working on the movie. He said it was really weird because it was all green screens. And they had all these like little smaller people. I don't know if they were like midgets or whatever, like on their knees, and you had to like mime and mimic and ad lib everything because he wasn't working with an actual person other than Michael Jordan when he was in scenes with Michael Jordan. So he said it was very strange and very awkward to do. So I can imagine. And then I got 4 more things to show. I met one of my favorite crushes of all time growing up. And that would be Alicia Silverstone. Everybody had Clueless. I didn't bring Clueless. I mean, I like Clueless, but I figured everybody would fucking have it. The Crush is one of my favorite movies with her debut, and she's so fucking hot in that movie. And I told her, I'm like, I envy Carrie Elways in that movie. I wouldn't be able to hold back myself from the scenes. And she was like, yeah, when I was so young at that age, I would go to his trailer and they're like, oh, so are we supposed to be, lovers now or something? I'm like, and I just started laughing. But she said she was so young, she didn't know any different back then. And the one nobody ever brought, I saw one person bring the Crush, but nobody brought this, and that's Excess Baggage. What she told me, she and him are going to be in a movie now that just finished. Benicio del Toro. Oh shit, was she the Reptile? I think she said it was called, but yeah, you can see wrote it there, right there. So she was really nice to meet, and just let everybody know she's single. And finally, they had people from the Terminator franchise there, and I met Christina Loken, and I got her to sign this figure since I didn't have the Japanese or VHS or the regular VHS. And I talked to her because I read her. I talked to her a good 5 minutes. She's really nice, but god damn, she's tall. I can see why she had the role for the TX, because she's like 6'3", 6'2", 6'3". She's fucking tall. And I read an article when Terminator 3 came out about her, like, she collects macabre items like bones and like skulls of animals, and she said, yeah, and she was surprised I knew that. But I was like, she's like, where did you read that? I'm like, I just read it online when Terminator 3 came out. And she's like, yeah, she would go to Africa, and I'm like, she's big into anthropology, and she like skulls with a lot of teeth in them, like elephant skulls and like primate skulls and stuff. And she said when 9/11 hit, she was over in Africa, and they didn't, because they're so far behind the times and not a lot of TVs and some of those places in Africa. And so when she got back to the States, she learned about it then. But yeah, she's like into all that stuff. And I asked her about Uwe Boll, because you know how everybody hates Uwe Boll movies, how she was in Bloodbrain and 2 or 3 other ones. And she told me he was a crazy genius, and that he even boxed one of his critics, because he used to be a former amateur boxer. But she said she did a movie with him called Attack on Darfur, and it was about the genocide in Sudan. And she said it's a lot different than these other movies because it wasn't like video game adaptations. So I have to check it out. And it got actually good reviews. It's like his only movie to get good reviews. It's more shot on video about the war there. And the extras and the people used for Africa were actually people that lived there or real victims of it. So it's pretty intense, I guess. And finally, I got this fucking badass sign, and that's the T2 Terminator 2 Special Edition Laserdisc box set with three Laserdiscs in it, and has like deleted scenes, interviews, and the deleted scenes are actually integrated in the movie, because I was watching it, I'm like, holy shit, I don't remember that part. And yeah, it's not separate, it's inside. And they restored it into the movies where they were supposed to be originally in before they cut it, which is pretty sweet. And they had like backstage interviews, locations, and all that stuff. And Robert Patrick, oh my god, that guy's so awesome. He's so cussing out a storm, so open with everybody. He's like, yeah, I told him Terminator 2 is my favorite action film ever. He's like, yeah, it's the greatest fucking movie ever because I'm fucking in it. It's great, it's fucking awesome. I'm like, this guy is cool. He's like so awesome. And he's like, don't you go dying on me now because I want to see you again. And he's just really cool, and he'll talk your head off. And like I said, he's so open, it's ridiculous. And I love when celebrities are that way. And he said, now I got to get Arnold, Edward, and Linda. I'm like, I doubt I get. Well, Furlong does a lot of them, but I doubt maybe Linda Hamilton, but I doubt I get Arnold. He said he mostly just does them on the West Coast, so I can imagine his autographs are expensive as hell. But anyway, I wanted to make this video, talk about everything I got, especially the John Carpenter things. And it's already almost 15 minutes of me just talking and babbling on, so I want to thank everybody for watching, whoever watches this, and tell me what your favorite John Carpenter films are, and what your favorite thing I got signed is from this here. And let me know about the other items I got signed, or movies, or whatever, and whatnot. I want to make a John Carpenter ranking video, but I need a good bit more of his films, because I don't like doing the rankings without the fucking physical media. Like, most people don't give a shit, but that's just the way I am. So anyway, I'll put another video at the end here, and subscribe if you want to subscribe to future videos. And I want to thank everybody for watching. It helps me a lot. Getting close to 300 now, finally. still a long ways off. But anyway, it's just me talking. I don't have any special things, like I said, intros or like sponsors. I'll probably never make any money off this, but I like talking about it, getting my ideas and opinions out there. So thanks for watching. Take care of yourself, YouTubers, YouTube land, wherever you're from, and I'll see you next time.